The Last of Us viewership has nearly doubled since episode 1. By Paul Tassi. If you wanted any more indication that The Last of Us is not just a hit, it's growing exceptionally fast through word of mouth, look no further than the latest numbers coming in for its latest episode, Left Behind. We have now reached a point where The Last of Us Live viewership has almost doubled since the premiere. Episode 1 to 0.588 million. Episode 7 to 1.083 million. Previously, The Last of Us was gaining viewership every week, which rarely happens after big premieres, and that was only derailed because of the Super Bowl where it had to move its air date 1 week. Now, the show is continuing to climb ahead of a season finale in episode 9 that I imagine will probably get close to triple episode 1's viewership. To show how rare this is, compare it to other HBO success stories. House of the Dragon Season 1. Episode 1 to 2.17 million. Episode 10 to 1.85 million. Euphoria Season 1. Episode 1 to 0.577 million. Episode 8 to 0.53 million. The White Lotus Season 1 is the only show that gets anywhere close to this kind of increase. Episode 1 to 0.42 million. Episode 6 to 0.85 million. Even Game of Thrones didn't have this kind of percentage increase in Season 1. Episode 1 to 2.22 million. Episode 19 to 3.04 million. The point being, The Last of Us, which HBO tells me is averaging over 20 million viewers an episode when you consider delayed viewing and HBO Max views, is doing extraordinarily well in terms of word of mouth, show growth that we've rarely seen in this streaming era. The show has at least 2 more seasons left in it, as the showrunners have already said the show will adapt the second game in 2 seasons, starting with Season 2, which has of course already been greenlit, with these kinds of numbers. As for anything beyond that, it would require adapting games that haven't been made yet, but if we're thinking 1.5 plus years in between seasons, as is usually the case now, it is not impossible that by the time the show is ready for Season 4, Naughty Dog may have released The Last of Us Part 3, which has not even been announced yet, to be fair. We are about to see a slew of other high-profile video game adaptations coming up. Amazon has committed to a live-action God of War series based on the Norse saga of the games, which is probably the most ambitious adaptation coming up. Other shows have fared less well recently, like Netflix's Resident Evil and Paramount's Halo, both of which drastically deviated from the source material, unlike The Last of Us, which includes one of its creators as a showrunner to ensure it remains mostly faithful to the games. A wild success story for HBO and this team here.